Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and my friends, we have the Gogeta showcase for Dragon Ball FighterZ, and we finally get a look at what this character can do. And what can this character do? Well, a fair bit, it turns out. So in this video, we're just going to be showcasing everything that they themselves showcased here in the Dragon Ball Battle Hour, from his normals to his specials to his supers and everything Gogeta is capable of. And first thing being first, yes, he has a 6-frame normal, 6-frame standing light. However, he also has a 6-frame crouching light, but it is not a low. So I know for a lot of people, you'll immediately write off the character if they don't have a low hitting down light, but don't worry, he definitely gets his mix in other ways. He definitely is not a mix-up light character. As for the auto combo, the second hit is only -4, so it's pretty alright stagger-wise, although maybe not the best. And the third hit is the giant cartwheel. Now, like some characters, this auto combo ender is a side switcher, so keep that in mind. I know not everyone is comfortable with that, so if that's the deal breaker for you, just a heads up. But otherwise, just like the second hit of the auto combo, also only -4 on block. Moving on normals wise here, down medium. This guy here is a sliding medium. So point blank, it's 11 frame startup, so not the fastest, but not the slowest. And it can go well into its active frames, hit pretty far away too, as you can see here, and hit on 15 frames from very far away in the active frames. So that's pretty alright, and it was stated, it is also a very good anti-reflect button. So if you know you're going to get reflected on, you can just bait them out and get your raw medium starter. Now here's the big deal. Stand M. So, adult Gohan, eat your friggin' heart out, dude. This is closer to like cooler than anything else in range, right? From that far away, this 9-frame move can connect. So, to me, this is basically like almost the biggest deal right off the bat. When it just comes to like that neutral control when you're both on the ground, roughly, you know, that distance from each other, 9-frame starter on a medium is ridiculous. So he definitely has a lot of power in the buttons, to say the least. The little Lindy Hop you're seeing there, that is his universal overhead option. Reminds me of like Jaguar Kick from Adon and Street Fighter. This is his down heavy, his 2H, if you will. So they were selling this very highly. It's got some decent amount of range, hits pretty high up. Maybe they know something I don't, because it's certainly not a bad one, and I'd say even above average, but doesn't blow my mind like some of the truly amazing ones, right? Like no, the famous Goku Black 2H. But certainly more than okay for what it needs to be. For standing heavy, it's workable, nothing outside of the norm too much. It was directly stated here that is standing heavy. It will always have a gap during a block stream if you try to go like LLMM or whatever. It'll always have a gap in it, so just be aware of that. For jumping normals, certainly a very serviceable suite of jumping normals. That's jump light right there. Jump medium also has some good range, and jump heavy is the Jaguar Kick, as we mentioned before. Just slicing and arcing down. Now, they didn't really go to it in the video, but I wonder if the jump heavy has a hitbox at the very top of the jump as well, because that could make it a very interesting tool to be sure. But otherwise, pretty good, and they did specifically mention for cross-up purposes, if you're like point blank and air dash over someone's head, the jump medium has pretty good range, and you'll usually always be able to get a quick cross up off it as well. Now let's talk super moves, and you might ask why go to supers first instead of specials. Well, there's a reason for it. But yeah, right there we get this giant multiple form attack here from Gogeta. This is air okay as well. This is his level 1. The ending is very slightly different if you do the air version. Instead, you get the Gogeta dive kick there, like blue Gogeta has. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, this is your level 1 super. And it just looks all crazy with all the multiples rushing everywhere. How about a level 3? Well, his level 3 is a beam super. So we kind of get that big bang Kamehameha here, as you can see there. And that's it. Maybe not mind-blowing, right? But, you know, serviceable beam option to be sure, right? There's a little bit more to talk about that and the level 1, though. So let's now go to the specials section here. So here's the reasons why we showed the supers first. Because he has a command normal forward S, that's your key blast button, right? Now every time you hit forward S, you might notice two things. Firstly, you gain meter every time you do it, about 1/4 of a bar-ish, roughly. And also, you're leveling up. It says here level 6, level 7, all that kind of stuff. And you can go from level 1 to level 7. And now what does these level ups exactly give you? Well, the higher your level is, the better your level 1 and level 3 super get. So you get a tangible bonus to your supers for having a higher level. So once again, here is your regular level 3, and you beam them down, and it does a good chunk of damage, as all level 3s do, sure. Now, let's jack up the levels here. Let's find out what a level 3 looks like once you start getting those levels really high. And let's go all the way to level 7, max level, right? So how much will it do this time around? That is the real question. Alright, so last time 4,600, this time roughly around 19,000 damage. Now don't go too crazy here, that's still 30,000 less than Android 16, right? But still, 19,000 damage, I guess that's alright. I guess you could use that in a combo. But yeah, so basically, it gives you near touch of death potential. Because here's a combo, land level 3 with obviously level 7 power up, and you're just gone. You're just erased from history. Now, to note, it's actually a different input. So this is level 3 is actually the H plus S version. The normal level 3 is the L plus M version. So say if you had your level ups and you do a basic combo and like try to tag into a level 3, then you will in fact get just a regular level 3, not the one that burns all the levels. So you don't get basically a kill off every single touch. But still, if you have Gogeta up and you have level 7, well then that level 3, if you want to do the H plus S version while he's up at bat, basically any touch into a combo is the end of the game. And keep in mind too, when you gain levels, you also gain meter, right? So it's not just purely only for that, but that is the end game. You build those levels for the Omega level, you're done, level 3 finish. Let's talk Ki Blast. He doesn't have a regular one, so he has this stare down as his base Ki Blast. So when it comes to full screen potential, this is going to be a thing about the character. He doesn't really have it. He has no real full screen presence. His archetype is definitely a lot more about rush down than anything else. But it's certainly serviceable enough, controls the space decently enough. Also good enough for combos, as you can immediately like super dash afterwards and just get like whatever follow-up. It's just maybe not as ideal as like say, a Broly Ki Blast or something, but it certainly gets the job done. Gogeta does have an invincible reversal, and it's a little bit different. It's actually down an S, so you don't need to enter emotion or anything. Just down an S, that's an invincible reversal. Now look at the bottom of the screen here, because the one thing about this, every time you do this move, and it doesn't matter if it whiffs or it hits or whatever, every time you do this move, you will gain a Dragon Ball. So Gogeta is the first character in the game specifically attuned to the Dragon Ball mechanic, as he can always get a Dragon Ball every time he does this, no matter what. So, Dragon Ball, summoning Shenron is a very rare occurrence in Dragon Ball FighterZ, right? And he's the first character that can kind of really force it if he wants to. So it'll be definitely interesting to see how that turns out. And once again, invincible reversal, very few characters have invincible reversals, right? So just the act of having one is definitely a bonus too. How about that Gogeta beam? Well, kinda not so much. He's got the party starter, so this is a command grab, not a beam, even though it looks like a beam. This is a move very famous in the original GT show, using the party starter for a fake out, and yeah, so this is his actual command grab. Now the thing about this here is 26 frames, so it's just a smidge slower than the traditional 24 frame startup many characters have, but not to say like people get out of this all the time, because you definitely won't. People get Dragon Rush, they'll definitely get hit by this, right? So yeah, just a good tool in the toolbox, and it does switch sides. They specifically mention it's a little difficult for some assists to connect. Some, like, Janemba can do it a lot easier than, say, a traditional beam. But yeah, interesting to have, for sure. And wouldn't you know it, Gogeta also has a counter. So this is quarter circle back in S. Now, to note, this is a physical style counter, so the enemy actually has to be kind of near you to get the actual counter off. But it is air okay as well. So if you call out something, you can smack them. It starts up on the 4th frame specifically, and it can stop ranged options, as you see here, although you don't actually get the counter off if it's on a ranged option. Once again, they do have to be beside you. But still, it's a good way to halt momentum. It's a good way to get people to second guess themselves. On bad super dashes, it gives you an air option against them, which is very good, as a lot of characters can't stop random air dashes in the air, but now you do get the option to do it. Once again, like the command grab, it's just like kind of a toolbox option, and more tools in the toolbox is a fantastic thing to have. Now here's something very interesting here. So forward and heavy is a command normal, it's a special kick, but what makes it special besides, hey, we got a command normal, whatever, is that we have follow-ups. So we have the axe kick here, that's a high, overhead, and that follow-up we just saw the low, well, it's a low. So it's basically a canned 50-50. Now, no, they do not hit on the same frame, so it's not like impossible to perceive or impossible to block both, but still it is there. Also, both options are safe on block, apparently, which is fantastic for Gogeta, for sure. The one thing to note here is there is a gap. So if you try to be tricky and like delay it or whatever, then you're going to run into a couple issues. But if you do it as fast as possible timing, you will be able to beat any kind of mash outs. You are also allowed to chain into heavier normals from it, so we can do over to forward heavy into your regular stand heavy. Also on block, the forward heavy kick can go directly into the command grab, so while they're worrying about overhead or low, you can just hit them with the command grab instead if you want to be like a very tricky boy. Opening people up seems to be pretty easy for Gogeta. He's definitely like that rush down mix-up style of character. Gogeta also has a bit of a lariat. So quarter circle forward, light, medium, or heavy, and he'll just kind of hit you with a big old gut punch. And the thing here is this move is also projectile immune. So having poor ranged options, he might struggle a bit against ranged attacks, but this is a way to kind of bypass that. And yes, it is air okay. And the medium and heavy versions also allow for combo ability. You can see the medium version here, and when you know it, oh, blast back and a little bit of a wall bounce. So in the corner, you can specifically get combo follow-ups that wouldn't otherwise be possible. So we'll have to see the length of it over time, right? But still, this is definitely one of your big combo moves. The EX version of the move, just so you know, does switch sides. So he does have a few side switching moves, and you know, love it or hate it, whatever, but it will give you combo ability anywhere on the screen. And if you're cornered, it's always a good way to kind of get your enemy back into the corner. So definitely big on combo ability for him, and it's definitely going to probably be a staple of his whole combo structure. And finally, for special moves, quarter circle back, light, medium, heavy, is this overhead axe kick. And the one big thing, the real story to tell, I guess, besides, you know, it looks cool enough, right? Is the medium version is indeed plus on block. Light version -2, and the medium is +2. So on top of the mix-ups of pressure and all that stuff he's going to be throwing on you, he has the ability to take additional turns, because if you dare block the move, you lost your turn anyways. So he's going to be all over you. He is pressure, 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 mix, mix, mix. So as we said, you know, rush down, mix-up style character. How do you get in? Oh, that's how you get in, don't you? So he is allowed to be the Mario Kart of Dragon Ball FighterZ characters, in that he is allowed to double dash. Unlike every other character in the game, he is allowed to air dash twice in the air. The concept itself is not new, like Eno and Dizzy could do that in older Guilty Gear games, right? But it's still, in this game, that is a fully new thing. And yes, just before you ask, because I had the same question, you are allowed to jump, like double jump, and then still retain your air dash, because normally that option would be restricted to you, but he is allowed to do that. So when it comes to his general mobility here, he obviously doesn't have a traditional basic key blast, he's got no beam, so he can't compete from a full screen kind of range. But with this extra mobility, then yeah, it'll definitely help him out big time. And yes, this is an option available to you. You can instant air dash over their head and then immediately instant air dash back over their head, right? So you can instant air dash medium for the cross up, or instant air dash, then instant air dash back the other way again for the cross up. So basically, you're not blocking that online. End of story. Get ready to mash down heavy against Gogeta. And of course, we got to talk assists, and Gogeta's A assist is that level up mechanic. So he'll come in, do his taunt, he'll get you bar, and it's roughly half a bar. It's a lot more than he gets himself normally, and he'll level himself up, so when he gets tagged in, he'll be whatever level you left him at during the assist. So for just general meter gain, great, and it will level him up. His B assist is his lariat, and it does retain the anti-projectile option, so it'll go through projectiles. And it's good for all the things why lariat assist is usually pretty good, right? It's fairly quick startup. It's decent on block, so it's plus 33 on block, so it's a little bit above average, just barely, right? It's not, you know, like Bardock B or anything, right? But it's still pretty workable, especially compared to the A assist, because the A assist, meter gain assists are very divisive, right? Some people love them, some people hate them. So if you want a more traditional style assist, that is it. And his C assist is his invincible reversal. So it'll track like all C assists, and he'll do it. And yes, it will gain you the Dragon Ball. and that'd be the main reason for it. As far as we were shown anyway, there's no air tracker or anything like that, so it's a purely grounded move, but it will always get you the Dragon Ball. So if you're really fishing for those Dragon Balls, well then this is the move for it. And that is our look at Gogeta. So mechanically, he's pretty alright. He's definitely a hyper rushdown character, hyper mix-up, all that kind of stuff in your face, and it's going to be difficult to guess what the right block is against him just with the tools he is given. Maybe he doesn't have that low hitting down light, but given what we were shown, he doesn't really need a low hitting down light either, so it works out just fine. So if you like rushdown heavy, pressure heavy characters, this is definitely the guy for you. And if you don't, well, honestly, then Gogeta is definitely not the guy for you, because that's what he has to offer on the table. Seems like he'll be very proficient at it, but he is definitely a one-note pony in that regard. He wants to get in and do mix. That all said, there's more Gogeta news coming in the future, more Dragon Ball FighterZ news coming in the future, so check the channel when that time comes. But for now, that is the end of the Gogeta breakdown, and that's the end of this video. So hey, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Dragon Ball.
Yeah.